Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Amos chapter 8, verses 11 to 13. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, though biblical food shortages, biblical famines, where many people are going to die off, are going to take place. But of hearing the words of Yahweh, the famine of the word, where the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles online, are no longer going to be found. And, these video epistles online are going to be completely scrubbed from the internet, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. In that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. You wicked Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who didn't take heed to the words of the prophets of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai when this word was freely available, but scoffed at it, mocked at it, and threw it behind your back, as it says in 2nd Ezra chapter 9. When all hell breaks loose during Jacob's trouble, you're going to be looking for this word, but you won't be able to find it, and you're going to have to take whatever judgment is coming your way. And I opened up the video with these verses to preface an article on reclaimthenet.org just to show how close we're getting to the famine of the word. Hey, as it says in Revelation chapter 12, verse 12, that devil or deceiver, Esau, Edom, specifically their elites, such as the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers, are coming down in great wrath because they know it that they have but a short time. These elites understand the scriptures and know that when the prophets are out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as the nation of Israel waking up and calling back on their power, whatever heathen nation that's ruling at the time is going to be taken out of power. And they also know that they are the Edomites, and what the fate of the Edomites are when they're taken out of power. 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery before they're permanently taken off this planet. So this devil is about to pull out all the stops to keep this word from going out. But the title of this article reads, House Weaponization Committee Report Warns of AI, Artificial Intelligence Enabled Censorship Echoing 2020 Social Media Suppression. And this whole thing with AI and deepfakes is going to, open a whole Pandora's box to allow the powers that be to further stifle and, manipulate so-called free speech. You've got a lot of people speculating now that during this upcoming so-called 2024 election, you're going to have a lot of deepfake ads, come out, and people get phone calls from the people they're voting for to manipulate their opinion. So what would that bring out? Oh, we need to censor the internet. We need to censor, this information out here, because look at all these people getting fooled by these deepfakes. And on the other hand, what can they do? They can take the videos of the prophets and create whole images of us saying and doing things we never did or said, just to further demonize the word and say, look, they're domestic theists. They're so-called black identity extremists. They're pushing hate speech and false information out there. We need to take this information off the internet before it causes harm, such as it inspires a lone wolf to commit some kind of attack. Hey, this devil is about to play real dirty out here, Akim, because, again, this word going out and, the prophets prophesying Hey, this is the ultimate, threat to these Edomites, specifically these elites. As it says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 12, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, which it has been, mainly through what? The internet. And then shall the end come. By the prophets prophesying this word, and if you've got that spiritual eye salve, you can see that the spirit of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is clearly dealing with the men of GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers that come in the spirit of GMS. With the prophets out prophesying this word, we're speaking the end of Esau Edom's rulership into existence. But before we start, let's go to another precept. This is Isaiah chapter 29, verses 18 to 21. And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The spiritual eyes and spiritual ears of the elect of the nation of Israel shall be opened, because what? The prophets prophesying out of the book. The meek also shall increase their joy in Yahweh, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. The elect waking up and realizing that this system we're in, where we're perpetual second-class citizens, where we're looked at as what? Niggers, spics, and tontos, with this Edomite, or so-called white man over us. Hey, this isn't the end-all be-all, and it does have an end. We're going to be in rulership next, and all of our enemies, these heathens with Esau Edom at the top, is going to be underneath our feet. And as it says in Revelation chapter 13, verses 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Point blank, period. Verse 20, for the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off. And the terrible one is being brought to naught right now, spiritually, by Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai's prosecution team, bringing up all his crimes, by going into the scriptures and breaking down, this devil to a T. And then he's going to physically be brought to naught when Yahweh Shai, the Son of the Most High, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, makes his second coming to save his elect and make war against these heathens, chiefly these Edomites, and bring about the end of their rulership and the beginning of their slavery. Verse 21, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught, coming about with all these different agendas to what? Demonize the word and the men of the Lord that are prophesying that word, labeling it as a hate speech and false misinformation. But now let's get back to that article. The detailed report unveils alarming potential for AI-driven censorship backed by the Biden administration, reminiscent of the Hunter Biden laptop story suppression. And it doesn't matter whether it's Sleepy Joe Biden or DJ Donald Trump. These politicians at the top rub shoulders with the elites and are on board with the agenda to bring about that NW0, that great RESET. As K. Tissue Schwab of the WEF says, you will own nothing and be happy. They just give you that illusion of choice so they can constantly keep you people fighting against each other while they work behind the scenes to further take away your rights. But I digress. A Republican report from the House Judiciary Committee on Tuesday raised alarms over possible AI-enabled censorship on a massive scale, reminiscent of Twitter and Facebook's suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop expose in 2020. Hey, but a more, a more appropriate example would be that whole situation from 2019 to 2021. You brothers, as well as myself, that were posting videos on that C019 situation and the things involved around it. What do we see happen to our pages? Suppression. Videos being taken down, channels getting strikes, channels getting taken down to the point to where to this very day, what do we have to do? Say things in codes so these AI algorithms don't pick it up and, give us penalties for it. Eventually, they're just going to say to hell with all that and scrub everything completely. And if you even try to get anything up there, hey, these systems are going to catch it before you even upload it. Hey, and they're going to cut our access to the internet as well. And then what? They eventually just come after us. The accusations focus on a series of AI tools currently under development. Financial backing for this venture has reportedly come from the Biden administration, leading to concerns about the permeation of political influence and freedom of speech. According to the report, the administration has invested millions of funds in AI research. The objective of this activity, as stated, is the creation of handy tools of targeting and suppressing misinformation that make a man an offender for a word and lay a snare or a trap for him that reproveth in the gate. Once operational, these utilities could ostensibly be handed over to major social media platforms. Details contained in the report point towards a disturbing admission by researchers involved in the project, officially known as Track F. A series of emails reveal their belief that the average American lacks the ability to distinguish between truth and falsehood in the vast, complex landscape of online content. And like I said earlier, these AI and deepfakes are just going to further make the problem worse because, when you watch some of those clips, they seem very real. It seems like the person, is actually saying those things. So it could be very easy for, the average person to be, misled by it, which further plays into the trap. Look, there's just so much unregulated information on the internet by these deep fakes and false actors out here. We need systems in place to keep the people from falling victim to this misinformation, this hate speech. Seemingly, the project accuses veterans and conservatives of being particularly prone to disseminating or accepting misinformation, even more so than the general public. The report was submitted by the Subcommittee on the Weaponization of Government under the House Judiciary Committee, currently headed by Representative Jim Jordan. It highlights how funds from the National Sciences Foundation filtered to prestigious institutions, including MIT, the University of Madison, Wisconsin, and the University of Michigan. So you see at every level, everything, works in tandem, for the ultimate goal of the elites. Censorship, control, taking away the people's rights. The funds were funneled into a program intriguingly titled Trust and Authenticity in Communication Systems. The initiative, dubbed Track F, has been set in motion to recognize misinformation while also producing educational materials for those most vulnerable to false narratives, so-called false narratives. And brothers already see this on some of their videos. If they talk about a particular issue in the description, those YouTube algorithms will say, look, this is considered a so-called conspiracy theory or, some other form of misinformation. Click this link to get the official science and expert-backed material on this subject. This initiative is part of a largely unnamed effort, the Convergence Accelerator Program, which was stealthily set up in 2021 to address nationally impactful issues through high-level research. While these tools could ideally filter out harmful content such as child abuse, hey, remember, it's always to save the children, or manipulative deepfakes, Republicans are more concerned about their potential to broader censorship. The report details researchers' motivation to stifle public speech, as stated by Michael Ponsmantier, the manager of the $13 million project, who broadly characterizes the project as a combatant against misinformation. Researchers at the University of Michigan suggested the potential of this undertaking to transfer content regulation from social media to government officials. So no more in the private sector, but in the public sector, with government officials at the helm of these tools, to fulfill their political agendas, really the agendas of the elites. It's a state, it's a matter of national security. An MIT researcher shared concerns with NSF officials, noting that large segments of the public are incapable of discerning reality from fabrication on the internet. There are apprehensions that these tools could be perfected and then utilized, pay attention, by platforms like YouTube, Reddit, and Facebook. This could further restrict internet users' abilities to express themselves and access information that make a man an offender for a word, an instance reminiscent of the revelations about Hunter Biden's laptop being quashed by Twitter and Facebook prior to the 2020 presidential election. That's it with that article. But hey, as it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, while they put out that public image that this is to combat, deep fakes and, misinformation in regards to the upcoming 2020 presidential election, or to keep harmful information away from minors. This is ultimately targeted at the men of the Lord preaching this word, bringing about the end of Esau-Edom system. But now I'm going to close it out in Psalms chapter 64. I'm going to start at verse 1. And the header is aptly titled, Prayer for Deliverance from Secret Enemies, because this is a secret council. Hey, these are the powers that be working behind the scenes to demonize the word without coming out and publicly doing it. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, hear my voice, O power, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, coming out with these different agendas and programs and AI to what? Demonize the men of the Lord and the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai that they're preaching, to label it as misinformation, hate speech, and an incitement to violence, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly did they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart or mind is deep. And hey, it's very deep to come up with these artificial intelligence, technologies and these deep fakes as well, to what? Control the narrative and manipulate things to push for their agenda and take out those who they deem enemies of the state. But there's a silver lining to everything. All these traps and snares that you elites have set up, hey, you're going to get caught in them. Verse 7, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. So shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And while I was breaking down that article, going through the scriptures to show that famine of the word is coming, as well as the demonization of the truth, they best believe it was an Edomite that wrote that article exposing his very own elites for the agendas they're coming with to stifle his so-called free speech and take away his rights. Esau is turning against Esau. But as it said in verse 7, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. The agendas of you elites is ultimately going to fail by you coming against the word, and you're fulfilling prophecy as well. As it says in the book of Acts, for we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth, by you demonizing the word and taking it off the internet and coming after the men of the Lord, which is ultimately through the will of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. You're going to instigate the fame of the word. And when the word no longer goes out, what does that mean? The elect have been sealed. And when the elect have been sealed, hey, that's when those nukes, those arrows are going to start flying to the ends of the earth and hit everywhere you Edomites dwell. And after the dust settles from that nuclear destruction, Yahushai, along with the 144,000 of the elect of the nation of Israel, who are fishers of men right now, prophesying this word, are going to be hunters of men in spiritual bodies, going to where you elites, beginning with you, and these remaining heathens are dwelling, and dragging you out and slapping chains on you so you can begin serving that first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven, building it up. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharala.